When our eldest child was born 20 years ago, a kind of parental worry descended, seemingly overnight. And with each child, it amplified over the years. It started out innocently enough, like, but what if she sticks her fingers in the socket? Reasonable, right? That's just unassailable good parenting, right? It may have gotten slightly out of hand when I decided one early morning this fall to check where our new college student was at 1 a.m. A little piece of advice: never check where your new college-age student is at 1 a.m. I nevertheless succumbed to the temptation. I'll have to do a few alchets on that one. Only to have the app show her icon blinking furiously in the middle of an intersection in Kenmore Square. She goes to BC. So it just blinked there, not on the side of the road, not next to the road, in the middle of the road for what felt like forever. Let me just say that did not make for an easy bedtime. When Mike observes that I might have just a touch of anxiety, I unfailingly respond, I have situational anxiety. Like if she wasn't out at 1 a.m., I wouldn't be anxious. She's out at 1 a.m., situational. We've had some version of this talk enough times that situational anxiety has become a catchphrase in our house. The boys have pneumonia, situationally anxious. Anti-Semitism on my eldest's college campus, situationally anxious. My father and stepmother in Jerusalem as Iran was threatening to attack. I mean, come on, what do you expect? The trouble is, this year, the situation, I'd wager not just for me, has gotten a bit out of hand. Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthis, Iran, hostages still being held. Friends and family in the South facing Hurricane Milton's misery so soon after Helene, a blood pressure elevating election season, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on here in the US. And that's just the public side of things. If you have dear friends who are battling illness, or perhaps yourself, if you've lost someone you love or are facing an economic, job, or relationship upheaval, it's possible we're all coming into the holidays a little bit, or more than a little bit, situationally anxious. What do we do with that anxiety? It would be nice if today I could get up here and say, oh, don't worry, everything will be fine. Yeah. Or if we could find comfort in the unassailable historic angle. It may not be fine now, but it will be fine. Look at all the Jewish holidays. Look at all the Jewish history. We've been through hard times before. Have faith, my friends. After all, isn't the tagline of so many Jewish holidays, they tried to kill us, they failed, let's eat? Well, maybe not today. I love that message. I believe that message. And I am not comforted by that message because of a question that someone at the Pesach table each year invariably asks. Hey, it's great that our ancestors were brought out of slavery in Egypt to freedom. But did I read that right? Am I correct? Did I read that it took 430 years? What about all the generations who lived and died in between? Where was their redemption? Where was the happy ending to their story? It's nice to know that redemption is coming, but what happens when we feel like we might be at the start of those 430 years? When redemption may indeed be coming, but not soon enough. While there is magnificent meaning to be had in passing the torch from generation to generation, when the world feels as precarious as it does in this season, just being a torchbearer, keeping the flame alive, may not be enough. So what else is on offer? Where can we find some light? After all, we're a people known for making an art form out of anxiety, for learning to laugh in the face of tragedy and trauma. There must be something there. Luckily, our high holidays offer something different, and it's found in tomorrow's Avoda service that our cantor so beautifully evokes with the modern words of Ishai Ribo. I want you to imagine with me the anxiety, the fragility, the uncertainty of the high priest, the Kohen Gadol. Every person in his whole community is carrying their shared and unique concerns for what has been and what will be in the coming year. The Kohen Gadol has to go into the Holy of Holies to try to express something that's inexpressible. And it all rests on him. And while that may not sound like a lot to us, he felt it. Everything that would happen in the coming year on his shoulders. Ishai Ribo brilliantly surfaces something that is hidden in plain sight in the text, but you don't see it until he invites you to see. Although the Kohen Gadol walks alone and feels alone in the Holy of Holies, at each step, the community responds to him. And at the conclusion of his intricate priestly service, they meet him and joyfully escort him home. Turns out that they've been there all along. In other words, the answer to an age of anxiety is each other. If you had asked me to explain Yom Kippur on one foot, I would say that. We come together, starting tonight with Kol Nidre, all the way through the final confessions of Ne'ilah. We agree to the premise that no matter how different we may seem, we're in this together, and we need each other. In an interview with Rabbi Danny Gordis this summer about carrying the heaviness of the year that we have just had, Tel Aviv Rabbi Joe Wolfson said, "I think that this is what our tradition was built for." If you look at Jewish history, he said, so many of our greatest moments have emerged from the absolute depths, the absolute lows of Jewish history. He cited the creation of the Talmud in exile, medieval scholarship that developed alongside terrifying threats to being Jewish, Chassidut rising at the same time as pogroms. Time and time again, from our most painful experience, our people have come together to create something new. Just yesterday, Rabbi Gordis sent out a powerful video clip of Israelis sitting around a table. Looks like a holiday table. Admit it, they begin. For a moment, it seemed like the end. Here it is, history repeating itself. But somehow we're still here. They continue. We were looking for a full glass, but after last year, we'll settle for a quarter. This pain, they pause, is what shapes us. The video goes on to recount the countless acts of volunteerism and kindness that have risen up, like in Rabbi Wolfson's community in Tel Aviv. As has happened throughout much of Israel, volunteers showed up the day after October 7th last year and have kept coming every day since. They've kept coming through everything that they have been experiencing every day since. To deliver food, to run classes for evacuees in the south and then the north, to build relationships with the family of a Bedouin girl gravely injured in the first Iran bombing, going to the Negev again and again. Shaping the world anew in the face of tragedy is what our people have done throughout history, and it's happening today. Izhar Shai is a former Israeli science and technology minister whose son, Sergeant Yaron Ori Shai, was killed on October 7th. In his memory, Shai launched a project named Next October to establish 1,400 new Israeli startups, one in memory of every fallen soldier and every murdered civilian. Shai says that Next October is a response to a breach in our world which remains open. He considered launching the project alone, but soon realized that it was stronger, that he was stronger when he used it, and he used the pain that he was feeling to bring others towards purpose. The tagline of Next October is, "Together we remember, together we will build tomorrow." We don't have to found startups to be part of that mission. Each and every one of you, by choosing to be here tonight, has, in the face of horror and hate, chosen to invest in your Judaism, to immerse yourself in our holiest endeavor, to be a seeker in the storehouse of our tradition. Let me tell you something surprising. This has been a record-breaking year for conversions. Sefaria, the online repository of Jewish texts and learning, reports that it has grown 30% this year to nearly 1 million users, as many more turn to the texts of our tradition in search of meaning at this time. And more Jews, especially young Jews on campus, are resolving to love being Jewish more than anyone hates us for it. Let's embrace that this year. Let's learn together. Let's grow together. Let's meet each other as our ancestors met the Kohen and walk towards whatever this year will bring together. A beloved relative of mine, Itzik, recently passed away. He was an Israeli ship captain and a 7th generation Yerushalmi from Israel, and he would captain this ship. And he would come with the most marvelous stories of his adventures. As my family, in wake of his passing, were swapping some of the stories that he had told and memories of visits with him from the days that he would dock his big ship in San Francisco, I remembered that on one visit to the port, my family stopped in the redwood forests. The trees were magnificent, apparently the largest living things on earth. Surprisingly, Scientists have found that these huge trees actually have shallow roots, yet they have held up through countless storms. The secret to their success, the secret to their strength, they are intertwined. Every tree's roots reach out to connect with another. That is the secret of our people, too. We have weathered countless storms. We have created and recreated. The best answer to anxiety, situational or otherwise, is each other. May this be a year that we all return to our roots. Shana Tova, Gamar Chatima Tova, we rise. Page 229.